So, E3 is nearly upon us. We have basically 2 weeks until the biggest gaming events of the year will take place, and the question on everyone's mind is, of course, what are we going to see? Now, there's a lot to speculate on, and on top of that, we have seen a lot of stuff teased that we are now waiting for news for. So, buckle up, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump into Nintendo's big news at E3. Now let's get it out of the way. The first big thing, of course, is going to be Smash news. I've made videos talking about this extensively, so I'm not going to go as in-depth as I would in those videos, but I'll lay out my thoughts here very briefly, and you can check those out if you're interested in more detailed information. So as far as the Smash reveal, I'm anticipating a big third-party reveal, as they tend to save those for E3 when all eyes are on gaming news. Aside from the actual reveal of Smash Ultimate, the characters that we've seen revealed at E3s are Banjo-Kazooie, Hero, and, it's speculated, Steve. So whether the character we're going to see is going to be a Crash Bandicoot, or a Master Chief, or a Freddy Fish, I'm just predicting that the sort of category this character is going to be in is third party. Now, initially I was talking about how I think there was a chance that we'll get information about if anything is beyond Fighter Pass 2, but since I started writing up this video, Sakurai made a new column, and in that column he effectively said these are the final 2 characters. People of course love to speculate that there are always surprises, and that isn't always entirely true, but coming from the man himself, I genuinely do think these last 2 characters are everything. So those are my thoughts for Smash. We're pretty much just going to get a third-party fighter. Doubt we'll get the last 2 characters revealed at the same time, because they're going to want to string this on as long as it can go. And if you're wondering who I want, it's Crash Bandicoot 100% all the way. Alright, so that's Smash out of the way, so now let's talk about some other divisive stuff like Pokemon. Pokemon has several games slated for this year or for early next year. Most importantly, the remakes Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and Pokemon Legends Arceus. For E3, I think they'll either show off Pokemon Legends Arceus, or they're gonna have a Pokemon Direct near the E3 Nintendo Direct, depending on how much Pokemon stuff they plan to show off. But I think that Legends Arceus is going to be the big focus if they talk about anything Pokemon related. I mean, it is a big new game for the franchise, and it's a genre that the series has never done before. And it's clear that they're making it their primary focus and giving it their full attention. That's exactly why Game Freak are developing Pokemon Legends Arceus themselves. Meanwhile, they've outsourced the Gen 4 remakes to another developer. And frankly, I'm really looking forward to this new game. The whole Breath of the Wild Pokemon thing really seems mostly like a meme, but this new game really isn't too far off the mark. Plus, as far as the story goes, I absolutely adore when we get to look into the ancient past of well-established stories, and the history of Pokemon is something that gets discussed a lot. In the games they touch on it, but they talk about really ancient stuff. I'm talking about I want to see the first dude catch a Pokemon. So it's interesting to see things like the earliest Pokeballs, and to have mostly open terrain rather than these huge cities. It's really going to be a fun change of pace. And I'm also really looking forward to the Gen 4 remakes, but those seem much more run-of-the-mill as far as what to expect since they're remakes. But I'm still absolutely going to play the hell out of them. Alright, so next is the news that I'm most looking forward to besides the Smash reveal, and that is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now, I absolutely loved Breath of the Wild 1, so seeing a sequel in development was such a treat. Even though I was coming down off the high of Banjo's reveal when it was actually shown off, after the fact, I was very excited to see that this was being developed. But it's really been 2 years since we've had any kind of substantial news? All we've really had since the reveal is Eiji Aonuma letting us know that the game is still being worked hard on. And that was back in February, so I'm assuming that him saying that we're waiting a little longer to share some news really meant that they were going to tell us stuff at E3. So based on that, I'll be pretty surprised if they don't. Like I said earlier, E3 is where all of the biggest announcements of the year take place, so Nintendo is going to want to show off their big guns at this event. And what guns are bigger than the sequel to the best-selling Zelda game of all time? I don't really have much to say by way of expectations, because we really just had so little based on the trailer, just a vague glimpse into where the story might be headed, but it would be awesome to see a slightly more developed Hyrule this time. Just maybe a few more towns, a little more points of interest rather than entirely blank landscape. But I'm not going to pretend to predict anything. I just want them to give me information and I will enjoy it. I'm sure I will. I'm also not entirely sure if we should expect any news about Splatoon 3. It would be cool if we did, but it feels like it's been a little too close to the actual reveal of that title. Now, I'm not a huge Splatoon guy. I casually played both 1 and 2 when they came out, but I was never super into it the way that I know other people are. But I still enjoy the series despite not being very good at it, so I'm looking forward to any news that we might have about this game. I just don't know if enough time has passed for Nintendo to want to talk about it. I mean, they have other things that are presumably coming out much sooner than Splatoon 3 is. Now, this would be the part of the video where I predict that we're going to see the Switch Pro at E3, or whatever it's going to be called. But then, of course, that Bloomberg report came and kind of ruined everything I was writing. The report stated that the new Switch model would be dropped sometime in the fall of this year, and that it would be revealed in the weeks leading up to the E3. So that really just kind of threw a wrench into my prediction. But if it does happen the way this report is going to go, I guess you could still lump it in with their E3 reveals. According to the report, a lot of the games being shown off at E3 for Switch are going to be showing that they are taking advantage of this brand new upgraded Switch's hardware. We've had rumors of what this new model is going to contain, like the OLED screen in handheld mode or the ability to output in 4K on TVs. So we really just have to wait for Nintendo to finally show us this thing so that all of these rumors can be put to rest, because we've been hearing about this for like a year now. And again, I do think it has to do with COVID. Nintendo may have planned to show this new model earlier, maybe even anticipating a holiday release for 2020. But as we know, their entire company kind of fell apart because of the pandemic, and so we're here now still waiting for it. So if the Super Switch Pro doesn't show up in the next couple weeks, it will almost certainly be at Nintendo's E3 Direct, probably really early on, for the exact reason that the Bloomberg report stated. A lot of their upcoming games will probably be taking advantage of that stronger hardware. But if I had to guess, I think we probably will see an individual announcement ahead of E3 rather than something during the Nintendo Direct. And I think it's because companies other than Nintendo develop games. So a company like Sega or Square Enix may have a title that will really shine on the new Nintendo Switch XL, but they wouldn't be able to specifically mention this hardware unless Nintendo announces it first. Imagine the first time we hear the name, Nintendo Switch U, and it's during like a Capcom presentation for a random anniversary collection game. Like, it would be effectively a leak for 50,000 people watching a live stream. So Nintendo is going to want to get ahead of the game by at least dropping a name and some specs for us, just so we know. And we do know that it's actually coming because of some accidentally published Amazon listings for a new Nintendo Switch Pro. So it's clear that on the internal side, they're prepping for the announcement and the subsequent pre-orders and scalpings for this thing. So other than everything I talked about here, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not really hopeful for Mario Odyssey 2 or anything like that, and I expect that we know most of their huge titles right now. So any of the mid-sized titles that they're going to surprise us with are going to be peppered in, but it's going to be something we don't really guess, kind of like Mario Golf was. I would love to know what you guys think we're going to see at E3 down in the comments below though, and not even just from Nintendo. You guys know on my channel I'm focused mostly on Smash and Nintendo, but really I'm just a gamer. So I watch pretty much every presentation to see what we can expect. So anything Microsoft, Sony, Square, tiny indie company, whatever you're looking forward to, please let me know down below. I would love to read your thoughts. All right, y'all, that is going to be it for me. Peace out. I hope you guys have an awesome day. And please remember to be good to one another.